It is that time of year to look back at all that transpired over the last 12 months. And here to tell us the highlights of all things entertainment is Jelena Adzik. So let's start with music and who dominated.
Okay, who dominated? I know you probably think that I'm going to bring up Old Town Road. 2019 Old Town Road makes sense, but it is actually ranked in the ratings in a different way because it's sort of a remix, so they don't include that one. So the big name here to think about is really Post Malone, because Post Malone ended up getting the most streams for 2019. He was the most streamed, really big, 6.5 billion Spotify streams actually. Many songs on his album Hollywood's Bleeding that was released in September, they cleared 100 million streams, including Circles. Sunflowers that was another huge hit for him. So yeah, Post Malone is the name to know there. But I've got to mention Drake because Spotify named him as the male artist of the decade when it comes to streaming. Ariana Grande, by the way, most streamed female artist of the decade. And also got to give some props to Shawn Mendes on the Canadian side of things because the song that he does with Camila Cabello, yeah, that was a huge hit. Señorita, that got a lot of streams too.
That was a good one. How about the small screen?
Okay, let's talk about the small screen because really when it comes to the big screen, I'll just got to get it out of the way. Avengers, yes, it made over $2 billion at the box office, which was huge, but really it was the small screen that dominated, definitely streaming, and documentary specifically. There was one, Finding Neverland, of course, with Michael Jackson, but the other one too, with Surviving R. Kelly, and that was with the story of course, Me Too really coming to play here. And I wanted to bring this up because it was seminal in the way that the documentaries this year affected not just our viewing, but also actions. People were actually taken, whether it's taken to court or other, lawsuits came out of this. So really a lot of concrete action as a result of some popular culture that was out there.
And what about pop culture? What are the biggest mainstream movements of the year?
Listen, we cannot talk about popular culture without mentioning Greta. Yes, Greta Thunberg, because this young climate activist was really just the huge news of the year. She made it climate activism cool, relevant for young people. In September, she was named as one of 4 winners of the 2019 Right Livelihood Award. It's kind of Sweden's alternative Nobel Prize, the covers of lots of magazines, and of course that famous speech. Let me give you a little bit of a listen to that right now.
How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight.
When you think of something like dying of climate change literally becoming a TikTok meme, it really did get young people really involved in this cause.
Okay, how about the art world?
Okay, so this is also has some political elements to it because a really big part of the art world news this year has to do with donations and people not accepting them. So let's talk about the Louvre, for example. Major art institutions have been saying no to any kind of family donations that might or might not have to do with big pharma. I'll give you specifically in this case, the Louvre removed the Sackler name from its museum wing. This is amid protests from U.S. photographer and activist Nan Goldin. Now, she ended up saying that she became addicted to powerful prescription painkillers herself. She ended up protesting. She even had other artists in the water in some of the fountains along the Louvre, and they were all saying that it was time to end support for major institutions from any families that have anything to do with big pharma, and so that was a fascinating one to watch.
That is an interesting one. I never thought that by any chance.
Yeah.
So what about major cultural headlines of the year?
Well, you and I were both here. We were all watching when Notre Dame Cathedral, when that spire burned down. I think a lot of people around the world just were shocked. So that, along with the death of some really big people, such as the world's famous fashion designers, you think of Karl Lagerfeld, for example. The list goes on, but that's just a bit of a roundup of 2019.
I always love those. Thanks, Jelena.
I was hoping 2020 will be great for you.